Brexit has now come and gone. The United Kingdom is out of the European Union, and a number of my British friends and clients have asked, Andrew, what do I need to know about my British passport in the post-Brexit era? I'm going to share some common concerns and give my feedback on this in this video. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Henderson. If you'd like to learn how Nomad Capitalist helps 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs go where they're treated best, including getting second passports to give them more options, learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. So let's talk today about the UK passport in a post-Brexit world. We've talked about this before because a lot of folks in the run-up to Brexit were panicked that their passport was going to become, and I quote from some of them, worthless. They were going to have a worthless passport, they were going to have no options, they were going to be stuck, and they were doing a mad dash to go out and find any second citizenship that they could get. I want you to calm down for a second, okay? Now, I believe that everyone needs a second citizenship or possibly even a passport portfolio, depending on what your life goals are, what your business is like. Who knows what's going to happen with the world of taxes, with the world of regulations, with all kinds of different things. And so having more options is always a good thing. Having a second passport is always a good thing. So what does this mean for you? What does the post-Brexit world mean for your UK passport? Well, it means you can't automatically work in the EU. It means you can't send your kids to school there under the preferential terms. It means you can't get access to health care there. And it means that you can't just go and automatically live there for as long as you want. The last one is really the one that has hit folks that I talk to the most because we work with entrepreneurs and high-level employees, and so they're not necessarily concerned about paying a little bit extra for their kids to go to school. They have, good private health care, what have you. But their concern is, well, hey, I wanted to go and retire in Spain. Or, hey, I run an online business and I can work from anywhere. I'd like to go and live in Spain full time. That's the biggest reason why I've literally heard some folks from the UK say our passport is now worthless. But here's the reality, okay? You're going to see a transition to a British passport that is essentially on par with an American passport or a Canadian passport or an Australian passport. Okay, UK citizens starting in 2021, assuming there's no delay, will have to register every once in a while before going to the Schengen area in Europe. You'll have to go and fill out a little electronic travel authorization to go to Europe, and 99% of you will be approved in a matter of a couple minutes. Same thing as ESTA in the US or ETAs in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, etc. Annoying, but not the end of the world. What you're going to lose really is just this full-time travel in Europe. You'll still be able to travel to Europe with, again, this extra little string attached, but you're not going to have other countries dumping your visa-free travel because visa-free travel is based on the reputation of the country. Okay? And as much as you think your reputation has suffered, some of you, in this Brexit era, nobody suddenly thinks that you're going to become a bunch of third world migrants overstaying your visa just to get a job working in some sleazy restaurant under the table. Okay? That's not going to be the reputation. All right? I mean, if you look at countries like the United States, I'm from the United States. You go to some parts of the United States, people are not doing so well, right? I mean, that's the whole reason that Donald Trump won, is because there are people who are not really doing that well. And yet, no country has canceled the visa-free travel privileges of U.S. citizens because there are some pockets of folks who are not keeping up with the good economic times. And the same thing is going to be true of the UK. So, how do you address this ability to live in Europe if that's something that you want to do? Well, the good news is so many countries, especially since the Great Recession of a decade or so ago, have introduced residence programs. There are some that are like freelancer visas or self-sufficient visas. There are others that are investment visas, like the so-called golden visas. Okay, and we often work with people to figure out which one of these are important. There are lifestyle considerations, tax considerations. There's a lot of things to keep in mind in Europe. They're often not as straightforward as residence programs outside of Europe, but you can go and get residence. And it's a matter, in terms of choosing which program you want, it's a matter of figuring out how long do I want to spend in Europe. Ostensibly, you'd want to be spending the full year there, or most of the full year there. Otherwise, you could just go as a tourist. Right? Not probably 90 days at a time, 90 per 180. Okay? So if you're going to spend the majority of your time in Europe, there are a number of different residence permits, and then from my perspective, it just comes down to tax planning. Okay? If you live in Spain full time, you're not going to have the best tax treatment. But figuring out what tax exemptions are available, how do you reduce the amount of tax that you're paying so that you can actually save some money. For some of you, that does matter. And to me, if I'm going to leave my country and go live somewhere else, I'd like to get an economic perk out of it besides just the lifestyle perk. But plenty of residence permits in Europe. Now, if you want to get all those old benefits back, from healthcare to education to freedom of movement, etc., then second citizenship in Europe is a great idea. Some of you have citizenship by descent. That's an option. You have a parent, grandparent, great-grandparent from a European Union country. A lot of people qualify that way. And what I find is a lot of people that we work with often don't realize one of their parents actually has citizenship somewhere else. And so that's a process where you can use to get European Union citizenship. Again, Irish was one of the most common ones that folks in the UK were using. Ireland being in the EU, now you've restored your access. There are golden visa programs, like in Portugal, that lead to citizenship. And so, especially if you want to live in Europe full time, more of those investment visa programs can actually lead to citizenship. There aren't very many that lead to citizenship if you barely live there, if you're just there for a couple weeks a year. But if you're living there full time, then the options open up. If you're willing to pay some tax, the options open up even more. Okay? There are also citizenship by investment programs like Malta, like Cyprus. You go and make a donation, you go and buy property, you can fast track yourself to citizenship in as little as 6 months. Okay? And then you have the benefits back. Obviously, Cyprus not in the Schengen area right now. Malta is. There are also other programs, what I call fast-track naturalization programs, which are much more difficult in the European Union. But if you're running a big business, there are probably some countries out there that if you go and hire 100 workers, or you go and make a €5 million investment, will put you on the fast track and will personally work with you to see if they can get you citizenship by doing that. Okay, so there are lots of different options, but if your concern is that you just can't live in Europe, there's a lot of ways to skin that cat. There's a lot of ways just to get you back in, okay? If I'm a UK citizen, I'm a lot more concerned about the growing movement towards everyone who's an expat must pay a certain amount of tax, okay? My bigger concern is that 10 years from now, countries say, yeah, we understand you're living in Dubai and the tax there is zero and you're following all of their laws, but you know what? You carry our passport, so pay us something. I'm more concerned about that than my ability to live in Spain, because there's so many ways to solve the ability to live in Europe that my goal for a second passport as a UK citizen has not changed by Brexit. It's merely a citizenship insurance policy protecting yourself from whatever may come, whatever things developed countries may throw at you in the future. But plenty of ways to live in Europe. And if I'm a UK citizen, I'm not calling my passport worthless at all. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.